Hello, all, and welcome back to The Ageless Factor with Aleta St. James. Aleta is a world-renowned master energy healer and intuitive life coach. She made international headlines in 2004 for giving birth to twins at the age of 57 and is the successful author of Life Shift, Let Go, and Live Your Dreams. In The Ageless Factor, she will introduce you to amazing people she has met along the way. Here you will learn Aleta's secrets to ageless living with some of the most highly esteemed professionals in the psycho-spiritual world. So welcome back, and stay tuned for yet another episode of The Ageless Factor with Aleta St. James.
Hi, everyone. This is Aleta St. James in the second series of The Ageless Factor. And today in our podcast, I am so excited to share with you the secrets of age reversing. Now, it seems like longevity and agelessness and age reversing seems to be the hot topic right now, and I'm so glad it is. But I'm going to give you the secret sauce that really makes a difference in terms of why I look the way I look at 77, and you could do the same thing if you follow these protocols. Now, many people are getting stem cells and all sorts of ageless factor IVs and etc., but they don't have the secret sauce that puts it all together, that really gives them that glow and that electric, youthful feeling and that excitement about life. Our bodies, and in Life Shift, I talk about the 4 bodies, and I really support you in getting this book. It is the Bible of transformation. I wrote it 20 years ahead of its time, but now it's really, really current. It's a nationwide bestseller, and people are starting to connect back in with the book. In this book, I talk about the 4 bodies: the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. Now, the physical and the emotional are the densest. But in the physical, we have toxins, and our cells turn into zombie cells as we get older, and they kind of atrophied. And then the environment is so toxic that it really affects our ability to regenerate. And when we get to a certain age, it really takes its toll in terms of our joints, our muscles, our brain, our organs, and our bodies, unless you go through a series of detoxing. Now, I have a partner, Tracy Piper from the Piper Center, who works with me, and we've been working for years together, but we're really understanding how we can work best together in retreats. She does colonics, detoxes, deals with supplements, while I'm doing the emotional work that goes along with what we're holding on in our colon. The colon and the brain are connected. It's the brain-gut connection. So what we're finding, and we've known this for years, but really seeing it when we work with clients together in these retreats, is let's say you have low self-esteem that happened when you were 6 years old, your brother was born, your sister was born, and all of a sudden you were just like number 2 when you used to be number 1. So you imprinted in your cells that you weren't good enough. Well, all that, believe it or not, is in the gut. So I'm able to look in and see, because I can intuitively see what's going on in the chakra systems and in the subconscious, and say, okay, what happened between 6 and 8? We nail it. I put my hands on the area of the body. We breathe into it. We release it through my ability, through energy healing, to pull things out, and then to transfer high frequency energy back into those cells. This is the thing. You cannot just release. The universe abhors a vacuum. You need to release toxins and release emotional toxins and mental toxins, and then you have to clear it and then shift up and put higher frequency energy in there. Now, the interesting thing is a client will then go and have a colonic, and all of a sudden debris from the colon, the whole top of the colon, the liver, the gallbladder, the spleen, the pancreas, come shooting out because it's all wrapped around that issue. So what happens is that this whole theory of quantum shifting actually realizes itself. And the same is true in the reverse. A person can go for a colonic, release a lot of things, come to me. I see a whole different level of things that are going up because it's like an onion peel. Deal with that. What is the negative energy that you're feeling about yourself, the fear, the anger, the resentment that you might be holding on to? Help you release that. Then you work with the nutrients and the detox teas that you're drinking and the juices so that you clear that from the body. And then you go back and take another colonic and that releases on a higher level. And then I'm able to bring the higher frequencies, the seventh dimensional energy, into the cells of your body and level you up. So you become that being. So it isn't like you constantly have to keep working on it. No. You want to get to a place where the leveling up and the higher frequencies are in the cells of your body, really junctioned in. You've detoxed on the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. The inflammation is at a minimal amount. And then you feel like you're definitely a spiritual being having a physical experience. Now, that's not a concept. That is an actuality. That is a feeling. And when you feel that on a really deep level, you don't have this schizophrenic thing about spiritual versus the physical. Spiritual, fifth and seventh dimension versus the third dimension, the 3D. You are in alignment. So when things happen in the third dimension where fear gets triggered, let's just say all of a sudden a huge bill comes in. You weren't expecting it. So naturally there's, as they say in Italian, agita. You get a little nervous, like, how am I going to pay this? I have kids, I have college, I have this or that, whatever it is. And then you go, you breathe, you hold it for the count of 5, you use the light, and I love using violet light. That is the highest light of Saint Germain. It's the I am consciousness. I surround it, hold it for the count of 5, and then breathe it out into a gold sun. And I'll do that until it levels, and then I'll ask myself, what else is possible, Aleta? What else is possible to pay that bill? And then all of a sudden your whole psyche goes, okay, you can do this, you can charge that, you can sell this, do another seminar, whatever it is, you look at unlimited possibilities to get yourself out of the fear. But when you're only functioning out of the third dimension, then what happens, and you don't move the energy, like the anger, the irritation. Do you know, I have clients that'll come in and they'll still be holding on to a relationship that broke up 20 years ago, or a marriage. I mean, their whole life for 20 years was on hold because the person left them. You want to hold that and release it and release all the things in your childhood that went around that whole thing about abandonment. Level up, ask yourself what else is possible, and then co-create with a higher energy and bring someone else in. That person is not the last helicopter out of Saigon. Sorry. You know, we might feel that way. But then I always say, look, you didn't know that person existed until you met them. So the next person you're supposed to connect with, you don't know existed until you meet them. And then if you level up in a higher frequency and really intend and feel that you're bringing in that next person or the money and the financial freedom that you need or the career, then all of a sudden that frequency starts to play into your life's drama, into your life's film. And then it starts to manifest and you start to play a bigger game in life and you start to live your best life. Now, that's what creates agelessness. I know myself that there's times for nanoseconds, an idea comes into my mind and it goes, oh, this is just getting too much, because I have 20-year-olds, right? I had them at 57. They're now turning 20. My son has his girlfriends. My daughter's in college, having a blast, doing theater arts. But it gets a little stressful dealing with, 3 adolescents, young adults. And I think, oh, God, for a nanosecond, I see what happens in our psyches, which is, well, maybe I don't have to live to 120. Maybe this is a little too stressful. Maybe I'll get out sooner because I've decided to live to 120. And there's the 120 club, so I'm not the only one. But the thing is that I cancel it immediately. And I go, what else is possible to create excitement in your life and to minimize whatever's going on in their lives, or the financial stress, or expansion in the career, or whatever it is. Once you do that, then you're constantly regenerating yourself. And that's what creates the whole ageless factor. So you can look at somebody that's 100 or 102 or 3, and their bodies kind of look it. Their bodies look that way because they haven't had access to detoxing and to using stem cells for regeneration after they've detoxed. That's really, really important. When I go down to Mexico and I work with Dr. Morales, the one thing that I really admire about him, and he understands that unless you detox the body, you can put as many stem cells in there, you've got inflammation. So they don't work as well. So you can have 100 million stem cells going into your body. If it's inflamed, it kind of neutralizes itself a bit. You want to detox the body. You want to get it to a place where it's, more alkaline. And then you put the stem cells in, or whatever other modalities you're going to use. Also, at the retreats with Tracy, we have the beamer, we have the Yugo machine. All of these things energize the body and keep the blood moving. So as I'm helping people keep your life moving, keep your possibilities, what else is next moving, then you go actually into the physical and you move into these electromagnetic machines that keep your blood moving, keep the energy moving, because we're electrical beings. I learned something really interesting in the last retreat. It's about trace minerals. We don't have enough trace minerals in our bodies. We don't eat enough to have them. The food doesn't really supply them. And so once you take the trace minerals and you go on these machines, you can feel that your body's electric. It's moving. And the one thing about aging backwards is you have to keep moving the body. And it's not only an exercise. Now, I do Pilates 3 times a week, and I do all this other stuff. And I'd be remiss if I thought that I could sit down, do nothing, and everything would be fine. I mean, walking is great, but something like Pilates pulls all the structures together, helps you stick into your core, and then work from your core. And my body, because I was a dancer. One time I still dance, but I used to go to 3 classes a day, and I ran, 25 miles once around Central Park a few times. I was athletic, all right? But now I can't do that because my joints are going to feel it. But you can do something like Pilates, like yoga, like hot yoga. You want to keep things moving as well as your life moving, not getting stuck. So the exciting part for me is this retreat in Cabo that I give. And Cabo, for me, in the El Ganzo Hotel, and I have a video on it, you can see it on Instagram, is the most magical place ever. I feel like, oh God, I just hit paradise. And when you do a retreat, you not only want to go into a different environment because it has a different biomagnetic field, and that can really help you shift quicker, but you want to be in a loving, nurturing environment, a beautiful environment, an environment that is like the sun, the moon, the stars are just loving you and embracing you at night. So I do a lot of emotional release work, getting into the cells, really leveling up so that you feel like instead of being in irritation and contraction, you're into expansion and the sense of self-love. I gave a webinar at the lunar eclipse in the full moon in Pisces the other week, and it was very much about self-love. It was really about not just saying I love myself and buying myself another Chanel bag or whatever it is lately. It seems like bags are the big thing out there, and buying this or going here or going on vacation, an extra one. It's about really feeling a celebration of who you are inside of you. And then you say, when you get to a certain age, I want to celebrate every single moment that I have on this planet before I make my transition, because I could create magic. I can make a difference. I can heal the world or be a light rod for the world. Or maybe it's on a smaller level, touch somebody else's life or your children's and see them grow and get joy from that. I'm writing my second book now called Living Out of the Box, a journey of transformation and empowerment. And as I'm going back over my life, it's like astounding the things that I've done or connected to, and how I was always searching for, if I had a block, how do we get over it? Do we, do ayahuasca in Peru that I did 40 years ago, or do primal therapy for 3.5 years with Thurman Scott, study light work for 50 years, constantly elevating while I'm in my physical, so that the enlightenment process that we go through happens in the physical. So we can be spiritual beings out there in another dimension, and we decide, okay, we're going to get into the earth, into the 3D, and work out certain things inside of ourselves, blocks on the stage of life. And I believe that we bring ourselves into the families that we reincarnate into to work out these issues. And if you look at your families and everything that you've been through, you can see it's a stage. And they're all actors and players and creating the thing that you need to break through. Now, you can get to a certain point and say, I don't have to make it so difficult anymore, right? I can let go of struggle. I don't have to prove myself. I'm at a certain age, I want to just live my life to the fullest. So that doesn't mean sitting on the couch and watching television by any means. You're just going to get decrepit. That means expanding and say, what else is possible? And then connecting with young people. My practice goes from 20, 30, 40, 50s, 60s. There are some 70-year-olds, but that's kind of the age range. Then I have my 20-year-olds. They keep me very young. Then I have Chirpy the bird and Crystal the dog and all my friends and everything that I'm co-creating with people to help people become ageless and excited about their life. So when I found Cabo and I started these retreats, and I'm working with Dr. Morales in terms of the regenerative medicine, I really feel like, wow, between our work and the work with Tracy in terms of the colonics and the detoxing on that level, you can really experience a jump and start experiencing what it is to age backwards. And it's not about makeup. And it's not about losing 20 pounds. It's about what you're feeling inside of yourself. If you're loving yourself, your body, sure, let go of the extra weight, of course. Get some makeup. I always do. Make sure that your hair looks a certain way so that you feel beautiful when you look in the mirror. And don't give up on yourself. Do you know, there's a lot of women, once they hit 50, all of a sudden they decide, it's over. I'm not going to be attracted to another man. It's not happening. Well, I have news for you. There's a thing called gap dating now. I think I mentioned it with Gail Brophy on the other podcast, where there's women that are a certain age and men that are younger, and the men that are younger are not looking to have children, but they love the wisdom of the woman who's older. If she keeps herself together and she has her lifestyle together and she's adventurous, game on. So, because men were doing this, for years and years and years, all right? Now women can be doing this, and they are. And so just because you're 50 doesn't mean, okay, that's it. Nobody's going to look at me anymore. Or if you're in a relationship with your husband and your husband has low testosterone, I have a podcast on that with Dr. Barbara. Don't just sit around, because if you don't drag him to his doctor and get his testosterone checked, most probably every single man that I've heard of, including the men I've been involved with, they don't like to do that. No, I'm fine. No, you're not. Check it out. When I work with fertility, I always tell my clients, have your husband checked. 40% of the fertility problems are not with the woman, they're with the man. Only that usually takes a lot of coaxing. And then at least you can figure it out. So if you're with a partner, and of course you're not going to have other relationships outside the marriage, then you're stuck unless you get him to level up. And you need to keep your sexual energy going, because your sexual energy is a fire inside of you. It's a kundalini. It's the chi. You want to connect to it. You don't want to decide, okay, that's it. It's over. You're killing like half of your vital life force energy. You want to charge it. You want to create it in your relationships with the man that you're with and level up together. And so the two of you, the masculine and the feminine, connect so that you have this union of strength and modality of the yin and the yang. There's nothing like it but an infinity sign that goes like that. You have the masculine going into the feminine, going into the masculine, and then you do that dance. So the most important thing is that in this ageless retreat and in my work, I work a lot on getting that sexual energy to move, using different kinds of techniques to create that, having the high frequency healing energy come into your cells so that you feel young and vibrant again. You're connecting with your chi, your kundalini, your life force energy. So you have your higher spiritual self, your soul, and your heart. And your second and first chakras, which is your survival chakras, which you constantly keep engaged with as you're moving into your life. So this is an exciting mission I have. My first mission was transforming myself, show business, dealing with clients, going around the world, studying with spiritual masters, elevating my consciousness to a certain degree. And then I decided, what my friends would say, because I'd always talk about having children, right? And I was about 49, and they said, don't you think you should start? And I thought, well, my grandmother gave birth to my mother at 54. And what was I rushing? And they said, you better get started. So by the time I was 57, I gave birth to Gina Francesca. That was a big mission, trust me. And then I helped so many women have their dreams of having their own babies. And now I'm in a point in my life where I am so excited about this ageless factor because, of course, I'm living it and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I'm always thinking about what's next and what's the best thing that I can give to everybody that I can connect to empower them to feel ageless and to inspire them. That makes me happy. And to help heal them when they have things that are making them feel decrepit or hopeless, or what's the use? Behind what's the use is a lot of energy. It takes double the amount of energy to have fear and what's the use and close down and contract than to express yourself. So once you get past that with the breathing and the emotional release work, then you have all double the amount of energy to start to create. And you want to co-create with the universe with your intention, with a higher spiritual energy that's coming into you, and with people. In Life Shift, again, I talk about the dream team of support rather than the chat room of discontent. And I will tell you that it's so important for you to have people that have the same frequencies around you, that are excited about life, that if you tell them, I think I'm going to go to Alaska, I don't know, to swim with the dolphins there. I swam with the dolphins. It wasn't in Alaska, it was in Florida, but who knows, whatever. And you get, oh, that's crazy, that's ridiculous, you're going to freeze to death, blah, blah, blah. Or a friend that goes, that sounds really amazing. Maybe I'll go with you. Or maybe you could swim with the dolphins where it's a little warmer. But they don't put it down. They give you other options, other opportunities. And then you have an excitement about life. If you're with, oh, that's horrible, men are all horrible, blah, 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 you can't find any good ones, women are now impossible to be with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The economy is in the toilet, what's going to happen politically, on and on and on. You might as well stay in bed. I mean, what's the use? I'd say blow that one up. Get that one, put it in a container and blow it up. And then ask yourself, where's my dream team of support? And this is what I want to create today. Whatever's going on in the world, you do your best about it, but you have your own life. And if you level up to a certain level, then all you will do is really co-create with something that's tremendously possible and positive in your life. What's going to happen out there is happening. You can do whatever you can do, but you can't make it different by obsessing about it and talking about it and being negative about it. There are some people that all they can think about is negative things in terms of politics, in terms of what's going on in the world. Their whole life is passing them by. They can't create anything positive because they're locked into the negative. So we don't want any of that. That is anti-ageless factor. That is to be blown up and to be like thrown in the delete pile. I want you to say to yourself, I have this amount of years, all right? If you don't want to live to 120, that is fine. Of course, live to as long as you feel like you want to live to. Make your transition when it's time for you to make your transition. But don't do it before time because you've given up. It feels hopeless. Or you don't have the ability to level up. Learn these techniques, these factors. I have loads of meditations on my YouTube that are free. My podcasts are free. My book, Life Shift, like Go and Live Your Dream, is amazing. And all the meditations that are out there and the Instagrams. And then, of course, I have private sessions and my retreats and my webinars. So really stay in touch and give yourself that zhuzh that we all need to get onto another level and live your best life. And I really support you 1,000,000% in looking at the Cabo retreat because it is magic. And I've been all over the world. I've led spiritual adventures. And I'll tell you, for me, Cabo is the place. So my love and blessings to you on your journey, your ageless journey. And I will see you next week in my next podcast. And au revoir, mon ami. Hi, everyone. If you've watched this podcast and you feel a transformational shift, I would love for you to subscribe and join our spiritual energy group and also share it with your friends. I'm also on Instagram, Aleta_St. James, and all the other platforms like Facebook and Twitter and even TikTok, believe it or not, at my age, and spread the ageless factor. My love and blessings to you, Aleta St. James.